Hello all, I am Riddhi, software developer from the Sufalam Technologies, and we are going to see about best security practices in Node.js. So let's start with that. So first and very important point is validating user input to limit SQL injections and XSS attacks. As the name suggests, a SQL injection attack happens when a hacker is able to execute a SQL statement on your database. This becomes possible when you don't sanitize the user input from the front end. In other words, if your Node.js backend takes the parameter from the user provided data and uses it directly to a part of SQL statement. So this problem can be happen. How do you avoid that? There are few ways, but the basic idea is to not blindly pass the parameter from the front end to the database query. Instead, you need to validate or escape values provided by the user. How to do it exactly depends on the database you use and the way you prefer. But there are some libraries like SQLize and Next. This helps to sanitize your user input and stop this kind of malicious activities. Another point is XSS attacks. The cross-site scripting attacks work similarly to the SQL injections. The difference is that instead of passing the SQL queries, a hacker can pass a JavaScript code. The reason for that is the same as before, not validating user input from the user. To fix this, you can use the libraries same as for the SQL injection, the validator.js and XSS filter library. This library will help you to reduce XSS attacks in your project. Another point is implementing strong authentication. Having a broken, weak, or incomplete authentication mechanism is ranked as the second most common vulnerability. It's probably due to the fact that many developers think about authentication as we have it, so we are secure. In reality, weak or inconsistent authentication is easy to bypass. One such solution is to use existing authentication solution like Okta or OAuth. If you prefer to stick with native Node.js authentication solution, you need to remember a few things. When creating a password, don't use the Node.js built-in crypto library. Use bcrypt or scrypt. Make sure to limit failed login attempts and don't tell the user if its username or password that is incorrect. Instead, return a generic statement that incorrect credential error. You also need a proper session management policies and be sure that all your application and microservices and APIs are secure with this authentication system. Next on the list is error handling. There are few things to consider here. First, don't let the user know the details. For example, the full error object to the client. It can contain information that you don't want to expose, such as paths, another library in use, or perhaps even a secrets. Second, wrap roots with the catch clause and don't let Node.js application crash when any error triggered from the request. This prevents attackers from finding malicious requests that will crash your application and sending them over and over again, making your application crash consistently. Node.js application can be flooded with malicious requests. So don't directly expose your Node.js application to the internet. Instead, use some component in front of it, such as load balancer, cloud firewall, or a gateway. Or another good example is Nginx. This will allow you to rate limit DOS attacks on step before they hit your Node.js applications. The Node.js ecosystem consists of many different modules and libraries that you can install, and it is very common to use a lot of them in your projects. For any small process or any small functionalities, you might have used a small different libraries from the NPM. This creates a security issue. When using a code written by someone else, you can't be 100% sure that it's secure. To help with that, you should run a frequent automated vulnerability scans. They help you to find dependency with known vulnerabilities. You can use NPM audit for the basic check, but consider that you have checked all the libraries in your project. For the NPM audit, there are some basic commands. For example, first one is NPM audit. This will just scan your project for the vulnerability and show you the report on the console. Another is NPM audit fix. It will scan your project and also complete any update if any dependency is not there. Another one is NPM audit fix package lock only. This will run audit fix without modifying node modules but still updating the package lock libraries. Then you can get a JSON report in your console via passing the JSON command with NPM audit like the last one. Next point is about the data lakes. We have understood earlier that from the user input, user can attack in your project via passing any SQL query or via passing any JavaScript code. From front end, we pass some data via API, and in front end, developer filter out some required data and show it to the screen. But other data is also available in the developer console. For example, you want to show a list of the user who signed up for an event. You execute a SQL query to get all the users for the particular event and send that data to the front end. There you filter to only show the first and last name, but all the data you don't want to show, like some critical information such as birth date, phone number, email address, etc. It is also accessible via the browser developer console. This leads to the data lakes. How you can prevent that? Only send the data that is required. If you only want to show the first and last name, then only retrieve those information from the database. This will create a little bit more work, but it is definitely worth it. It will not lead you to the data lakes. Set up logging and monitoring. You may think that logging and monitoring, while important, they are really related to security. But that isn't true. The goal is to make systems secure from the beginning, but in reality, it requires an ongoing process. For that, you need logging and monitoring. Some hackers may be interested in making your application unavailable, which you can find out without logging. But some hackers will prefer to remain undetected for a longer period of time. For such cases, monitoring logs and metrics will help you spot that something is wrong. With only basic logging, you would not get enough information to understand if any weird-looking requests are coming from your own application, a third party, or from a hacker. For that, you can set up any logging and monitoring mechanism in your project. This is very important for us to bifurcate any malicious activity like that. Using security linters, we have checked about the vulnerability scanning and NPM audit earlier. Now, to prevent these security vulnerabilities, while writing the code, we can use the security linters. By using linter plugins like ESLint plugin security, a security linter will notify you every time you use unsafe code practices. For example, using eval or non-literal regex expressions. Avoiding secrets in config files. Writing secure code from the beginning will definitely help, but it would not make your application bulletproof if you end up storing plain text secrets in your config files. This practice is unacceptable even if you store the code in a private repository. Importing secrets from the environment variables is the first step, but it's not a perfect solution either. To be more confident that your secrets aren't easily readable, you can use a secret management solution like Vault. Whenever using Vault isn't possible, encrypt your secrets when you store them and be sure to rotate them on a regular basis. Many CI/CD solutions allow you to securely store secrets and securely deploy them. Implementing HTTP response headers. Many less common attacks can be avoided by adding additional security-related HTTP headers to our application. The most basic mechanism is like CORS will improve the security of your API. But considering or using a modules like Helmet, which will add even more headers in order to secure your application. Helmet can implement 11 different headers-based security mechanism for you with one line of code, app.use helmet. If you want to know the details, you can check its NPM library documentation. So far, we have checked about protecting our node applications, but while changing environments on production, it's impossible to fully secure everything in your application. That's why protecting and monitoring your application in production is important as well. Application security management tools can help you to get visibility into your NodeJS application and detect and block attacks in real time, ensuring that attackers aren't getting around your secure coding efforts. Okay, so use these best practices in your NodeJS application and help to secure that. Thank you.